Well, cutting out drinking is the third most common choice for a New Year's resolution, according to Civic Science. Bria Walters talks to organizers that help people with alcoholism about New Year trends.
It's dangerous. So we never would tell a client, oh, just stop drinking.
Alcohol-related emergency department visits are up, according to OSF St. Anthony Medical Center Emergency Department Nurse Manager Carmela Londo. She says they expect more ER visits in the new year because of dry January trends.
Like New Year's resolutions, there's a lot of people that make them, but certainly we always encourage people if they are wanting to detox. We partner a lot with Rosecrans.
Rosecrans president Stephen Smith says quitting alcohol is not a quick thing. The organization is prepared to help as many people as possible.
It's not a one and done. It's a humbling reality to accept that you have a problem with alcohol.
Remedies Renewing Lives is on the same boat, and with its therapy groups, the nonprofit looks to treat the whole person.
You recommend, medication-assisted treatment for them, or at sometimes, we may recommend an inpatient program.
If someone is a heavy drinker and they quit cold turkey, there are signs of withdrawal, according to Londo.
Their heart rate goes up, they get tremors, bigger symptoms like withdrawal seizures.
That's what leads to a trip to the ER. Smith mentions there's healthy ways to ask for help this new year and how it can help people stick to their resolution.
I want to hear them out, understand what their problems are that have been contributing to the drinking, and then get an idea of where they are at.
In Rockford, Bria Walters, WIFR News.
Smith says 30% of people who set a resolution to stop drinking stick to it and encourages those who need help to reach out.